We have breaking news right now, a lot of breaking news happening on this program. We have a new Senate Majority Leader, Senator John Thun from South Dakota. Now, this audience did not want Senator Thun. We were enthusiastically behind Senator Rick Scott. And the vote totals went like this. In the first volley of votes, Senator John Thun did not get a majority. He received a plurality. Then, after the second round of votes, he is Senate Majority Leader. The first round of votes was like this: 23 for John Thun, 15 for Mr. Cornyn, and then 13 for Rick Scott, 27 in order to pass. A second round of voting occurred, and John Thun is now Senate Majority Leader, 29 votes to 24 votes. Now, mind you, that is one of the closer votes that we have seen in quite some time. Now, look, I'm not going to spend our time attacking John Thun. He's in charge. What I will say is this is John Thun has a short window to show us who he is, to show us what he's made of. I'm willing to say, okay, fine. Everyone says that you're a rhino. Everyone says that you're a gutless wonder. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. You have a short window to show us that you will support President Trump, fill his cabinet, confirm his judges, pass his agenda, do recess appointments, keep the Senate operational for 24 hours. If Chuck Grassley has to go take a nap, that's fine. We're not going to put up with this. Senate goes into the Senate goes into nap time for a couple days. Look, our movement is ascendant, and they know this. This is a very, very tight Senate majority election. Very, very tight. Our movement is growing. It is powerful. But allow me to emphasize one of the most disturbing elements of this Senate leadership election. We don't know how people voted. Of all the votes that they take, this is one of the most important votes that they take. Since Republicans vote with the party 98% of the time, what matters is who are they actually putting in charge of the United States Senate. And the majority leader decides that. But their votes are private. We don't actually know who voted for John Thun. We can guess, we can piece it together. We know some of his allies. I like Mark Wayne Mullen. I think he's a good man from Oklahoma. We've gotten to know each other. Don't agree on a lot of stuff, but he's willing to dialogue. He's behind John Thun. Okay. I know some people are behind John Cornyn. But why the secret ballot? And it's very clear. They do a secret ballot because they're terrified of you. John Thun is now Senate Majority Leader. If he does not support President Trump in these next 30 to 45 days to fill President Trump's cabinet, we will remove him. If he does support President Trump, we'll support him. But Thun won in the darkness. Thun did not win when people had to voice their support for John Thun. The only way that they are able to keep business as usual in the Senate is to not have you see who's actually supporting business as usual in the Senate. And in some ways, that should give you some hope and some optimism. That should give you some confidence and encouragement. In some ways, it's actually a very good thing because they're terrified of you, because you care, and the American people have awoken from their slumber. This is not the result that any of us wanted, but it was the high probability result. Some people said, oh, Rick Scott's going to win no matter what. I said, I don't think you realize how much the U.S. Senate is in contradiction to the needs, wants, and interests of the American people. But they're increasingly getting nervous that they might face primary challenges. The Senate is not an insular good old boy club. It should be a representative of the citizens. However, it does operate as a country club. Secret ballots, work a couple hours a day, kind of go work out in the gym, feel as if you're very important, lunch with lobbyists, foreign trips. You feel as if you're this really important person. And we rose up in record numbers this election to try to prevent this exact thing. The American people, think about what the American people voted for just a week ago. The American people voted for transparency, accountability, integrity, honesty. The American people voted against everything that we've just seen through the United States Senate. And I'm not going to make this the John Thune bashing hour. I am willing. I'm very cynical and I'm very skeptical because if I was a betting man, I would say this guy's not going to deliver. But prove me wrong, John Thune. Prove me wrong. I'd be the first one to say on the Charlie Kirk show, this guy is the best Senate Majority Leader in a generation. I want you to prove this entire audience wrong. And I'd be the first one to do, you know what? You've been terrific. We call balls and strikes here. We call it as we see it. What do I think is going to happen? I think that you are going to continue in the tradition of McConnell. But it's a blank slate. Show us that you are not that. Show us that you are willing to listen to your voters. And yes, you are up in 2028. I sure wish it was 2026, but 2028 will be here. That cycle will happen very, very soon. Blake is from South Dakota. He could be the chairman of the South Dakota Pressure Project. And by the way, that is one of the reasons why they wanted to get behind John Thune. They're so smart. They're so clever. That's not the right word, clever. And Aristotle said in one of his books, The Ethics, that cleverness without ethics is one of the most dangerous combinations. And boy, is that correct. When you are clever, you're able to navigate and you're able to snake through the institutions. This is so similar to why they chose Mr. Lankford to do the border bill, because he is far away from a primary challenge. He is distant from the accountability of the American people. And so for John Thune, they say, okay, even if he gets to be really upset, if Charlie Kirk and Tucker Carlson and the whole gang want to primary Mr. Thune, he is detached from the accountability. Do not underestimate, that is one of the reasons why some of these senators got behind Mr. Thune. I've never met John Thune. I've never talked to him. He's said some very nasty things about President Trump before, saying he should withdraw from the race, saying you wish other people. But look, you have to have short memories in politics. You have to. You got to wipe it clean. Okay, new day, new mandate. So what are you going to do, Mr. Thune? And I'm very curious. I want to see the statement. And by the way, Senator Thune, you're always welcome on this program. If you want to be in front of a big audience, this is where the stuff really happens anymore. It's no longer just on the cable news chatterbox, where you go on and you get a couple softball questions about how much money you're sending to Ukraine. We don't do that around here. We're going to get down to the essence of the matter. And I understand you're not a movement conservative, but we got some questions. Are you going to do recess appointments? Are you willing to support the president and his agenda? Can we get a border bill? Will you pass a bill to allow for Department of Homeland Security to do their job? These are all very important questions. Are we going to have real spending cuts? If Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, by the way, who's in charge of the Department of Government Efficiency, if they highlight hundreds of billions of dollars of wasteful spending, Doge, are you going to have the wherewithal and the fortitude as Senate Majority Leader to capitalize on those cuts? And understand this. For those of you that might be a little down, don't get down. We had the most triumphant win last week. I'm not going to let you get down. This is just a little annoyance. It's just a little mosquito bite. That's all that this is. They're not in control. Thune barely eked this one out. This was a squeaker. He doesn't have control over the conference. By the way, our numbers are growing. Think of the type of senators that we have there that are Marco Rubio behind Rick Scott. Ted Cruz got behind Rick Scott. Marsha Blackburn got behind Rick Scott. We are multiplying. We have great, great names in the U.S. Senate. Jim Banks, for example, is going to be a new member, and he is excellent. Maybe one of the best ones we have out of this entire class. Bernie Moreno is going to be terrific. I can vouch for that personally. And it's going to be a process. But right now, John Thune is running the U.S. Senate. And if he fails to deliver, we will replace him. And we'll do it quicker than Kevin McCarthy. Because, by the way, Blake, can you read Senate rules? I think 3 senators can force a leadership vote. I think. The American people are back in charge, and the Senate doesn't like it. They are so terrified of you, they have to be in their little club without transparent leadership elections. And I want somebody, anybody, a breathing human being to tell me, email me, freedom@charliekirk.com. You are welcome on my show. Why the U.S. Senate should do private and secret ballots. Somebody tell me. Somebody tell me. I want to hear from you. freedom@charliekirk.com. But let me just say, and I'm curious, is it constitutional to have secret ballots? Maybe. But shouldn't they be subject to freedom of information requests? Shouldn't they be subject to the American? I mean, I might be getting cute by half here. Blake says, yes, it is constitutional. This is a private party action. All right. The essence of what I'm saying is that it certainly is not defensible through any sort of standard that we apply to anything else. You are there as a representative of voters. Blake says it's a private party action. Fair enough. However, I want any senator to come on this program to tell me why you will not tell your voters who you voted for. It's because you are terrified of justifying your vote. If Thun or Cornyn or whoever was the best option ever, then you should say that. Do you notice one interesting thing? Almost every single person who voted for Rick Scott told you they were voting for Rick Scott. We knew that Rick Scott was coming in with 13 votes. Now, isn't that interesting? We knew who was voting for Rick Scott, but we didn't know who was voting for Thun or Cornyn. Why? Because Rick Scott is a justifiable option in the public eye. Rick Scott is a defendable position. Whereas John Thun, they know people would face primary challenges, state GOP revolts. No transparency reflects a fear of the people. And it only furthers this narrative that the American people do not trust their leaders. Now, in the rules, 5 senators in writing can force a party conference. So maybe that's what can happen here. But again, John Thun's majority leader. We're going to have a little bit of a grace period, and then it's game on. If by January 31st, we do not have a full cabinet, and I know that is a tall order, then that's going to be on Thun. You have to use you got to go 24-hour concurrent nominations. We need to change the Senate rules and allow you to do more than one nomination at a time. This archaic way of doing business. Okay, we're going to do the Attorney General, and that's going to take us a week and a half. Then we're going to do SecDef, and that's going to take a week and a half. And then we're going to do Department of the Interior. You can do concurrent and rolling nominations because the hearings happen in committee. They do not happen just with the entire body. This is why Trump won. What you just saw is the reason why Donald Trump won. People have lost faith in their government. And so they said, Donald Trump, you may talk dirty, but I'm hiring you to go do a dirty job. Donald Trump, you might talk plainly, but you're a fighter, and we want trust restored in our government. And I find it to be reprehensible that these senators ask us for our vote, and they ask us for our support, and that's all fine. Okay, I'm sure some of them are decent people. I know some of them. And yes, some people were public for John Thun. The point I'm making, though, is that every person for Rick Scott was public for Rick Scott. It is an indefensible position to vote for somebody and not tell your voters who you're voting for. Can someone come and tell me the case for John Thun? I want to hear it. There's the great Jack Posobiec right there. And some people say, oh, he's a friend of mine. Okay, fine, great, sure. We are up against a uniparty cartel, everybody. And this is why Trump won. And so now pressure's on Thun. Let's see what you got, man. Because if not, you will be primaried and you will be taken out, and it'll make Eric Cantor look like child's play. The whole new movement is ascendant. We got Elon Musk liberated. We got Twitter. We got X. Mainstream media is dying. We got podcasting. We got Megyn Kelly. We got Bongino. We got Shapiro. We got Walsh. We got Candace. We got Bannon. We got Beck. The whole program has changed. Long gone are the days where you could do your little secret ballots. And so the eyes are on you. And as a certain newspaper says, democracy dies in darkness.